Video games have become an international industry worth billions of dollars. In the expanding market, video games have grown from toys for children to entertainment for players of all ages. Just as the movie industry grew from silent beginnings, passed through the golden age of the studio system, and emerged into today's wide-open market of technological and storytelling innovation, so the business of electronic games has gone through its own evolution, which still continues. The CD-ROM in particular opened a virtual Pandora's box of good and evil. Like the CD, and in some even more significant ways, 3D technology radically changed the face of game design and development. Some designers decried it as the bane of good design, while others saw it as the path towards ultra-realism and games with movie-quality worlds. Controversy has accompanied the popularity of video games. Some educators and parents charge that young people spend too much time and money playing the games. Another debate centers on the effect of the more violent video games on players. Critics claim that the excessive violent games lead to violent behavior in children, who are the primary players. Some manufacturers have attached ratings to indicate the suitability for various ages. 4th May 2004, U.S. lawyers are bringing action against Edinburgh-based Rockstar North, the producers of Grand Theft Auto. It follows claims by teenage boys in Tennessee that they were acting out the game when they shot at vehicles. A man was killed and a woman wounded after being shot in their cars near the Tennessee town of Newport. 16-year-old William Buckner and his 13-year-old stepbrother Joshua had taken 2 rifles from their home, hid in trees, and started firing at passing vehicles on a busy highway. The pair pleaded guilty at a juvenile court to reckless homicide. They were sent to a detention center, but in their defense they told investigators that they had got the idea to shoot cars from a video game called Grand Theft Auto 3. Their parents also blamed the industry and are calling for the Grand Theft Auto series to be taken off the shelves. Many thousands of people make a very good living writing, creating, and running computer games. Rather few people earn a wage playing games professionally by taking the top cash prizes at tournaments around the world. But Julien Debelle is not trying to support himself, wife, and daughter by programming or playing. Instead, in April 2004, he will declare to the U.S. Internal Revenue Service that his main source of income is the sale of imaginary goods. Debelle is buying and selling virtual cash, weapons, armor, homes, and other artifacts from the Ultima Online game for Earth money from his home in San Francisco. In 2005, a 41-year-old man, Ku Shengwei, who had become hooked on a popular online game called The Legend of Mer 3, had spent many hours amassing points to earn the right to use a cyber weapon called a Dragon Saber. But he had made the mistake of lending his precious weapon to another player, who promptly sold it for almost 900 real-world US dollars. Mr. Ku was so incensed he went to the police, but was told that the law does not protect virtual property. He then went to the house of the man who sold his cyber weapon and stabbed him in the chest, killing him. Mr. Ku has pleaded guilty to intentional injury, but says he never meant to kill. Violent video games are turning our kids into killing machines. Video games increase aggression. These headlines sell newspapers, but how accurate are they? Jeffrey Goldstein, author of Why We Watch, The Attractions of Violent Entertainment, and a psychologist who specializes in violent behavior, says that many of the studies are flawed because researchers into video game violence make basic mistakes. Typically, a study is done by getting a class of school children to fill in a questionnaire on how long they play video games. But when you make a study like this, dividing the class at the median in terms of how often they play video games, you end up comparing mainly boys with mainly girls, because most of heavy gamers are boys. So you end up with a study of sex differences that masks as a study of video games. Researchers also often fail to distinguish between aggressive play and aggressive behavior. Another typical study method is to divide children into 3 groups, in which one group plays a violent video game, such as Mortal Kombat, the second a non-violent game, and the third plays no game at all. The children are then observed in the playground. Watching kids who played Mortal Kombat do martial arts moves, the researcher marks them down as showing aggressive behavior. However, violent games cause violent play. If the researchers don't distinguish between aggressive play and aggressive behavior, we lose the whole value of play, which is to do in fantasy what you don't have to carry out in reality. There is no intention to injure as a result of this kind of play. Real violence is frightening to children and has emotional and physical effects on them. Children don't become desensitized to video violence because it is not real. There is no victim that one intends to injure. There is only a digital enemy, a digital victim.